Hey everybody, welcome to a special Friday afternoon Howlin at the Moon rant. What I want to take the opportunity to do today is expand upon a recent column that I wrote centered around the concept of sayonara, and I want to talk a little bit more about that today. So let's get into it. Well, welcome back, everybody, to a special Friday afternoon Howlin' at the Moon rant. And I got a good one for you today, a barn burner. What I want to do is expand upon a column that I wrote about a week ago. And the column was about how Democrat elites really hate their own constituents and why those constituents are starting to figure that out and say sayonara. Well, that column, it's the first time I've ever released a column in the middle of the night. I worked on it till pretty late one night, and I just hit the send button right away. I released it in the middle of the night, and it didn't go anywhere because it ended up in everybody's mailbox in the middle of the night. But as the week went along, it started picking up some steam, and it's starting to get some traction now. But the concept in there that you can only abuse people so long, even if they are some sort of a captive audience, even if they're vassals of some type, before those people just say, hey, look, enough of this, and I'm gone. So there are 3 or 4 broad categories of things I wanted to talk about, just customer service in different areas and kind of things that I think most of us find incredibly irritating about everyday life. So, putting aside the political stuff for the time being, I addressed a lot of that in the column. Let's just talk about some things that, it doesn't matter what your politics are, some things that I think everybody finds very annoying. And the thing these days that really gets me the most is just customer service. It's just simply terrible. And it's terrible across the board in just about any industry that you can imagine. I read an essay a while back, and I don't know where I read this essay, but it was a very good one. It talked about, hey, one of the reasons that there's so many more instances, at least seemingly, of people flying into rages on airplanes is because when you treat people like cattle, which is what the TSA and airlines have chosen to do for the last 20 years, why should you be surprised when occasionally they start acting like cattle? And flying used to be a lot of fun. I can remember in the late 90s, I had a job down in Southern California, and I'd fly down there a couple of weekends a month, and flying was great. You could show up just a few minutes before your plane, run right in and get on. Then, of course, 9/11 happened, and Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, and people freaked out. And, airlines started deciding after deregulation that they wanted to charge you for everything. And it just made flying, all of it coming together, just made flying a totally unpleasant experience. And these days, I'm telling you what, I never fly anywhere anymore. It's just not fun. It's a dehumanizing experience. Nobody's friendly in airports. It's not what it used to be at all. And I'm just not going to pay big money to be crammed. I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'3", and I have to sit in these seats where I'm all crammed up against bulkheads and stuff. If you pay extra for first class, that gives you a little bit more room, but first class is not anything like what it used to be. Business class is not anything like what it used to be. So you're paying a premium price for something that's far below a premium experience, and I think that really ticks a lot of people off. And heaven help you if you're on a long flight anywhere and you're way back in economy class somewhere. That's just an absolute nightmare. I've done that a few times, and it's just terrible. So, driving is another thing. I think on a daily basis, all of us encounter episodes of road rage, and I think it's an indication of the fact that people are really frustrated. Your car is kind of like your own little fiefdom, right? You can listen to your own radio. You don't have to pay attention to what anybody else is doing. And I think there's this concept that I own this piece of road that I'm on right now, and I get a kick out of it. It's a little bit like the Ratso Rizzo moment in Midnight Cowboy, where Ratso Rizzo's crossing the street. He's jaywalking, I think, and somebody almost runs over him, a taxi, and he starts beating on the hood. He goes, hey, I'm walking here. I think that describes most people that I encounter in cars every day. It's insane. The other day, I'm driving down the hill from my farm, and it's 2 miles down the road into town from where I live. And it's a country road that kind of subdivisions have started coming up the road. They've gradually built up, and so there's an intersection down there now that wasn't there 30 years ago when I first moved up here. And it's got a stop sign that everybody routinely ignores. And I'm coming down this hill the other day, and there's some young people in a car, and they look straight at me, establish eye contact. They pull right out in front of me, waving as they do it. Now, I'm in my 1-ton dually truck, and I've got a whole truckload of kids. I've got all 4 of my kids in the truck, and we're slamming on the brakes, and the truck's weaving and everything. And these 2 yahoos in front of us think this is fun. They're all sitting there laughing, yucking it up, turn around, look at us through the mirror. They're pretty lucky that I'm not a road rage kind of a guy, because that's the kind of behavior these days that might get you tuned up. But I'm not that guy. It's that stuff like that. I just shake my head and go, well, anybody that drives that badly, they probably pay a lot in insurance, and eventually karma catches up to them. But I want to talk about a couple of really bad customer service experiences that I've had lately. And I think many of you, this will resonate with many of you. You're going to have something like this. So 3 things come to mind lately. We're doing a big summer cleaning here now. As many of you are aware, I have a couple of foster kids. My family's expanding. And so we have a big house here, but a lot of the house I've never used because they're just, I didn't have enough people. So we treated a lot of it like storage and attic and stuff like that. We're cleaning all that stuff out now, and we're going to get a 3rd bathroom out of this and a couple more bedrooms, and it's a fun time. So we're cleaning out the house. The kids and I have made that our summer project. So we've contacted with the city that I live in out here in Idaho and said, look, we want a 3-yard dumpster delivered up here 4 days a week, empty it, set it back down, and then on Thursday, when you empty it, just take it with you and deliver another one on Monday. And here's exactly where it goes. Now, we've done this before. So I've lived in this house for 33 years, and we rent dumpsters like that all the time. And there's a place for it. I describe it. You can't miss it. So when we started this project a few weeks ago, the first thing that happened was they put the dumpster, when they took it off the truck, they put it like 200 yards from where it was supposed to go. So I have a John Deere tractor, and I've got a bucket on the front. So I just go down, put a pallet lifter on it, lift the thing up, put it where it's supposed to go. So when they emptied it, I just said, look, make sure that you put it back where it's supposed to be. So they come to empty it the first day, and all you have to do is pick it up, dump it into the truck, and set it back down. It didn't end up back in the same spot. I had to go get the John Deere tractor again, take it back, put it where it was supposed to go. Well, the rest of the week, it reasonably, after they dump it, ends up where it's supposed to be. Now, there's no overhanging trees or anything. There's no reason I can think of why they would put the thing down in a place different than they picked it up. But they did 3 days in a row. So they take the thing on Thursday. They come back the following Monday, and I'm out with the kids. We ride our bicycles into town every morning and go get breakfast. So we come back from our morning bicycle ride. I live on a hill that is roughly, it's almost 1,000 feet above the valley floor. It's 2 miles up this road. And, 2 miles and almost 1,000 feet is a pretty steep grade. It's between 5 and 7%. And there's even a couple little 9% places that are pretty short. So it's not level ground. In fact, from one end of my yard to the other is a considerable drop. We come out, and I go to pull into the driveway, and I noticed that what they've done this time is taken this dumpster, which is on wheels. It's a 3-yard dumpster, which is a real common small-sized dumpster that you see in back of restaurants. This one's on wheels. It's the inverted V sort of a shape. It's on wheels. It's sitting on the road in front of my mailbox on a 5% grade, and they just left it there. So we pull the truck in the driveway, and I get out, and I walk out there just in time to see this dumpster take off down the hill. Now, fortunately, there's a curve right in front of my house, so the thing rolls down the hill about 30 or 40 feet, and it starts, I can see that it's picking up some steam. It picked up an impressive amount of momentum as it started to roll down the hill. It finally rolls into this ditch, so I just shake my head. I go get the old John Deere again, pick the thing up, set it up on its wheels, put it where it's supposed to be. That's customer service these days. The whole thing from not being able to put it where it's supposed to go to thinking it's a good idea to put a dumpster on wheels on paved road on a 5% grade. I don't understand that. It's not like it had wheel locks on it or anything. I just don't get why you wouldn't understand that the thing has a a major propensity to perhaps roll all the way down to the bottom of the hill. And I'm pretty sure if it rolled 2 miles down Barton Road, it might have gained quite a head of steam before it got to the intersection at the bottom. Of course, maybe the same yahoos that pulled out in front of me at that intersection would have tried to pull out in front of the dumpster, then there would have been some karmic justice. You know, I was talking the other day to a woman at a restaurant in town, and it's a restaurant that I used to go to every Thursday. And it was kind of a Thursday tradition. When my oldest son was growing up, he and I would just go out there and eat every Thursday night. It was just kind of this father-son thing we did. You know, when I had girlfriends and eventually a wife, they became part of that tradition. We always went to this place, and we quit going because the place was really bad. It had just really turned awful. And we went in there one day, just my kids and I were going by, and they said, "Hey, Dad, can we try this place?" And I said, "Sure." And the nice thing about it is it's an easy bicycle ride for us. So one day a few weeks ago, we decided to ride our bicycle down there for lunch, and we go in, and the place is clean, it's nice, the food's really good. And we're like, whoa, you know, what happened? Now, it's part of a chain of restaurants. And you know, the waitress comes over, and I'm going, did somebody new take this over? Because this place is really nice, and we used to come here all the time. We quit coming because the service was bad, the food was bad, and the place, frankly, was dirty. And she said, oh, yeah, they fired the old people, and there's the new owner over there. And the new owner came over and introduced herself. And we talked to them for a while, and they said, yeah, their biggest challenge is we can't find anybody under 40 that wants to work. You know, we hire everybody that works here is over 40 years old. And I looked around, they're right. It's all middle-aged or older people that work in there. They said, yep, the people that are under 40, you know, show up for a few days, and then they don't even tell us they quit or they're sick. They just don't show up one day. And I think that's a big problem. And that's a column that is working itself out of my head and onto into my computer pretty soon. I don't know what we're going to do when older people like me, you know, the guys that understood what's in the black box, they know how to build the black box. I don't know what's going to happen when all of us go away, because there's a lot of younger people these days. If it's not for AI and the ability just to look up stuff on the internet, they can't figure anything out. They just look everything up. I talk to an awful lot of people who just think that there's no need to study anything because you can look any bit of information you want up. There's really no need to work very hard. I just, that is a trend that really, really scares me. And I think that's what plays into some of these customer service failings. So the next thing is Amazon. So I posted on my X account last night that I'm divorcing Amazon, and I am. I've been an Amazon Prime member since the beginning, and I'm done with it. Now, I'm going to keep my Prime Video subscription just because I think there's some pretty good value to be had there. But, you know, the Prime membership where you don't pay shipping, it's not worth it anymore. When Prime first came out, you know, the deal was it was 1 or 2 day shipping to get you things. It was really, really fast. And even if it was something pretty exotic, it was a few days. It always showed up when it was supposed to. Their customer service was reasonably good considering the size of the company, and I was pretty happy. You know, every once in a while you'd run into a problem, but, you know, to err is human. The world's an imperfect place. So I have become a good Amazon customer. I do most of my shopping on Amazon, and I started looking at it. It's like $500-600 a month every single month that I spend on Amazon. And the service was starting to go downhill before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, the service just went to hell, right? You might not get anything for a month. Now, that's not all their fault, of course. That's a world supply chain issue. But after the pandemic was over, Amazon really hasn't come back. And what I've noticed lately is, like many of you, I get on there, and there's usually a lot of different options for an item that you're looking for. And I wanted to buy a little bicycle for my youngest the other day. She's 5 years old, and she's kind of graduated from the balance bike, and she's ready for her first little pedal bike. We were looking at pedal bikes. And, you know, I bought the one. There's a whole bunch of them that are essentially the same bike. So we bought the one that was going to get here the quickest. And they advertised 2 day shipping. Yeah, it'll be here. We ordered it Tuesday. It'll be here Thursday afternoon. Well, guess what? We ordered it at night just before we go to bed. I get up the next morning and I see that it's now all of a sudden, it's not going to be here for a week. It's not 2 days. It's a week. And we go, wait a minute, that's no good. I'll order another bike. I want it here by the end of this week, not next week. This is summertime. This is a young girl. She really wants this bike. The only reason I didn't go into town and buy one at Walmart or Fred Meyer or someplace like that is because I could get it on Amazon in 2 days, and it was the exact color she wanted. So we try to cancel it. You can't cancel it. It hasn't been shipped yet. It's not in transit anywhere. It's sitting in a warehouse, but you can't cancel the order. No, it's too late to cancel this order. Now, it used to be you could get a hold of someone, a human being, with customer service at Amazon that would see the absurdity of such a situation and would fix it. But these days, everything is AI. They've got these chat bots. And if you finally do what you have to do to get through to customer service, which I did, which is spend about 40 minutes dealing with it, they just say you're out of luck. You know, it's somebody in another country somewhere and they don't give a shit. You know, it's just, no, we're sorry. There's nothing we can do. Escalate. There's no one I can escalate to. Well, okay. So the thing, after a week, and it's still not here, finally, I figured out a way. I got a hold of somebody that allowed me to cancel the order. But it took a week, and, you know, that was a week that my little girl didn't have her bicycle, which was silly. She should have been able to have it when they said she could have it, or I should have been free of that transaction since the thing had obviously not shipped. I think it's still sitting in a warehouse in China somewhere. Allow me just to go into town and buy one. But nope, that's not. Amazon wants to make it as difficult as possible for you to cancel or change orders anymore. Now, I'm sure that there's a lot of fraud associated with buyers of Amazon too, but I'm not that guy. I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. I'm a good customer. You would think at some point when you contact customer service, they have the ability to look at your file there, to look at your transactions. They go, this is the last person that we really want to piss off. You know, we'll make this problem go away. And that's the way it used to be. Because I can remember people saying, oh, yeah, you've been an Amazon customer for this many years and you bought all this stuff. Every once in a while, if it was a small item, they just say when it shows up, keep it. That's how cool it used to be. It's not that way anymore. Everything is AI driven. Everything is designed to frustrate you, to make it very difficult for you to do what you want to do. Well, this bicycle is just one. There's a whole bunch of examples I could cite that have gone the same way in the past few years. And, you know, the Amazon people show up. We have an Amazon box. It's got a Ring doorbell, an Amazon product right over it, where they can ring the doorbell. The box is right there. There's signs all over our property that point to this box. We have a big property up here, a lot of fence. And I've ranted about this before. I wrote a column about it a year ago. For some reason, the Amazon people can never find that box. We have signs that say, please do not put packages here, with an arrow that points exactly where the packages go. Enormous red deck in the front of my house and a big Amazon box with big signs all over the place that point to it. And we find packages all the time that the Amazon delivery people have piled up right underneath the signs that say, no deliveries at this door. So in the wintertime, we got to go out. They'll just drop things in the snow. They'll be buried for days, and we won't find them instead of putting them in the box. The weather-tight box that we got specifically for the purpose, with a doorbell that we bought specifically for the purpose, right over the box, and a camera pointed right at the box. That's too much information for Amazon Prime delivery people to process. UPS and FedEx, too, in all fairness. They're not very much better. So the thing to Amazon came to a head a few days later. My kids and I, again, ride bicycles every day, and I want them to like their bicycles. So I'm always buying little things to put on their bikes that make them seem cool. And my son happened to notice that I had a really zazzy set of pedals on my bike. I ride a gravel bike around. And he likes the pedals that I have on my gravel bike. So I wanted to order him a set of pedals like that. They're just platform mountain bike pedals, and they're kind of zazzy. They came in a couple different colors. So I find a set on Amazon, and I know I won't be able to get the color scheme that he wants at any of the bike shops in town, right? I'd have to order some. So I happen to find them on Amazon, and again, order in the next 3 hours and 59 minutes, and you get them on Thursday. And we ordered them Tuesday night. So we ordered them up. Guess what? Next morning, the same thing. Well, they're not going to be here until next week. So we wait, and yesterday they're finally supposed to be here. My son's been waiting a whole week. He's really excited about these things. You know, for little kids, this is a big thing. He's 9 years old, and a week is a significant chunk of his life, especially a week in the summertime, that he's not getting to enjoy his pedals. So they didn't show up yesterday. I get some notice that the delivery driver tried to make the delivery and no one was at home. Well, that never happened. There's a camera on the delivery box. We checked it. Nobody was here all day. They got lost. They got late. I don't know what happened. But they never showed up. So I'd had enough. I'd said, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get a hold of somebody and absolutely rip them a new one. So I spent an hour on the phone. I got past all the foreign speaking people. I talked to UPS. I talked to Amazon. I talked to everybody. And they're all like, well, we're really sorry, but there's nothing that I can do about this. And I said, okay, well, there's something I can do about it. And I'm going to divorce Amazon. You're getting the papers today. And I went in last night and just canceled my Prime membership. It runs through August, and they don't make it easy for you just to cancel the part that you don't want. What you have to do when you cancel your Prime memberships, you then have to go back in and redo the Prime Video thing. So that's what I'll do. I'm just going to go in and do the Prime Video. I don't care about the music or anything else anymore. I just want the Prime Video. I like the stuff on the TV. The selections are pretty good. So there you go. And then another one I've been dealing with today I'm retired now, and I have a really, really good Medicare Advantage plan, which pays for a gym membership. So for a while, I was a member of Planet Fitness, but I stopped Planet Fitness membership, frankly, because I was very disturbed about their policies concerning men being able to use women's locker rooms. I just don't like that. I think that's wrong, and I'm not going to subsidize a place that does that. I understand that in some places, they felt like it was the law, and they sort of were between a rock and a hard place, but they then went the extra step of like firing members who objected. And I just said, well, I'm not going to join such a place. So I looked around for other gyms. There were a couple of local places that I liked, and I probably should have gone to them, but for various reasons, either, the travel from my house or their hours, I just said, you know what? Gold's Gym looks to be the best for my particular needs. I got kids. I want to be able to take them swimming every once in a while. Gold's Gym has that capability, and the weekends you can take them in. So I sign up for Gold's Gym. I have a special credit card that I get as part of my Medicare Advantage plan. You go in, you deal with these people these days, and it's just obviously you're not dealing with the A-team. The girl that showed me the gym looked like she was like 19 or 20 years old. She had no idea what she was doing. I'd ask her about these machines and stuff like that. She didn't know anything about when classes were, anything about where various machines were. I think her sole attraction was she looked good sitting behind the front desk. So I talked to her about the memberships and stuff, and I said, well, they'll pay for the monthly membership, which is more, because I want to be able to quit whenever I want. She said, oh, yeah, it's really easy. All you have to do is tell us, and you can quit the membership. So I join up. I go ahead and get online with my my Medicare card, my fitness card. Tell them this is the amount they're going to be deducting from this account every month. Set it up. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy, I think. Except immediately Gold's Gym starts charging a lot more than they said they were going to charge. They said, look, they gave me a piece of paper, said, this is what it costs. And I said, is this it? All inclusive? Yep, that's what it is. No, they were charging more every month. And what they did was they very quickly, in just a few months, depleted what I had set aside for this gym membership. So I traveled a lot this spring. I took my kids on some vacations across the country, and I kept getting these calls, and I thought, there's no caller ID, and I always think that stuff's a scam or marketing gimmicks or something. Somebody's been trying to scam me in my mortgage really bad all spring. So I'm really suspicious about calls that don't come up with caller ID or with people that I don't have a relationship with. And somebody kept calling from an unknown number and leaving these weird messages. There was somebody called ABC Solutions. Well, it turns out ABC Solutions is the billing agent for Gold's Gym, and they want to know why. After a while, I just said, I canceled my membership with Gold Gym after a while. I said, look, if you can't figure out how to just do this simple transaction, take the money out that you said it was going to cost, I don't want to be a member anymore. So I canceled the membership. I emailed Gold's Gym back in May and said, cancel this. I don't want any more to do with it. Send me, if you think I owe you some fees, you send me a letter. I'm not giving you a credit card because you couldn't charge my last credit card correctly. But if you will send me a summary of the fees that you think I owe, I will pay them and we will close this. And that's the last I heard of it. And then a few days ago, I started getting these calls again. And I said, I finally got a hold of somebody there. And I said, look, this is ridiculous. I've canceled this membership months ago. It's month to month. This should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Well, it turns out it's not. Because if you read the fine print, there's all kinds of things that they want you to do. It's not just as easy as saying, no, I'm done. So even the month-to-month membership is difficult to get out of, and I haven't jumped through all the hoops that they want. And it's ridiculous. It's absurd. You know what? I said, I'm blocking your numbers. Do what you want to do. I have already told you to cancel this, and I've made myself completely clear. This is a month-to-month membership. I want it canceled. If you're unwilling to do that, that's fine, but I'm not paying you another dime. I'll pay you any fees that you think I owe you up through May, which is when I sent you 2 emails saying cancel this, but after that, you're on your own. You didn't do what I asked you to do. Again, this is a company whose raison d'etre, I think, is not basically building healthier bodies or healthier lifestyles. It's extracting money from people. And what they're doing is making it as difficult as they can for you to do what you want to do. They want to steer you into a chute. They want to treat you like cattle too. They want the money to just keep coming. It doesn't matter whether you're happy or not. By the way, the local Gold's Gym is terrible. It's one of the worst gyms I've ever been in. I always thought Gold's was supposed to be, the gold standard in fitness. And this place is terrible. Machines are dirty and they stink. They don't have a lot of stuff that even Planet Fitness has. Frankly, I'm going to go back to Planet Fitness. It's inexpensive. It's open most of the time, and they have everything that I need there. So anyway, that's the end of today's rant. Thanks for going along with me and allowing me to vent my spleen to you. And please, again, weigh in on the comments about experience that you have that drive you crazy like this. But I'm telling you what, sayonara works. Amazon's not getting any more of my money. Oh, one more thing about this. So I get on Twitter. I do what people do these days, right? When you're angry with the company, you get on Twitter and you tag them and you say, I'm not very happy about this. Here is how good the response from Amazon Prime was. It came via a chatbot. So instead of a real human being reaching out to me and saying, we're really sorry that you're having trouble. We would like to reach out. We would like to talk to you. What I got was a chatbot that evidently scours their Twitter feed, looks for responses, and then sends you this generic response about how sorry they are. I'm sorry because of exactly this type of treatment. You don't want my $500 to $600 a month, that's fine with me. I'm sure there's other people that will be more than happy to accept my money and my loyalty. I've had you guys for nearly a decade and bought a lot of stuff from you every month, and you're flushing it down the tubes just because your customer service happens to occupy whatever level is below god awful. That's the end of the rant. Be seeing you. Cheers.